I seen something Tony Yayo said, Hov don't look out for me like 50 look out for him.
Oh, where he said that?
I just want to clear that up. Hov don't have to.
All right.
You know what I mean?
All right. Okay.
I'm chewing aloud on my own.
All right.
If Hov look out, I'm telling you, I'll be up there.
Right.
So when y'all see me out here, that's the Blizzle budget. But back to you, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I just want to let niggas know Hov don't have to.
Right.
Jim Jones just went off on Tony Yayo during Memphis Bleek's own podcast, and it got wild fast. The craziest part? Bleek doesn't even mess with Yayo like that. So now everyone's asking, what's the real beef here? And why did Jim Jones snap so hard in front of the whole world? This whole thing turned messy real quick. Let's start with Bleek's angle, because his part's way easier to break down. Memphis Bleek's been Jay-Z's right-hand man since forever, straight loyalty vibes. That's Hov's lil bro, no questions asked. But Tony Yayo, he's been throwing shade at Jay for years, and the tension's been brewing for a minute.
Between me and other niggas, right? Stack Bundles, one of my favorite rappers in the world.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Right?
Brian
And
Squad. Rest in peace.
Far Rock.
Yep.
You understand? Jim Jones, he had Stack Bundles, he had Max B. I looked at it like, great. You know. Stack's Bundles, we had a portion, was still in the hood. No disrespect to Jim Jones. Fifth had me in Battery Park. I could walk out that
Yayo once claimed Jay-Z tried blocking 50 Cent from performing at the Super Bowl halftime show, and ever since, he's been holding that grudge tight. So when Yayo sat down with Shannon Sharpe, he didn't hold back at all. He called Jay a straight-up hater, saying he never helps nobody win and only looks out for himself. Then came the line that blew everything sky high. Yayo said, "Look at Memphis Bleek. He not shining, he not winning. Jay-Z don't take care of him like 50 take care of me." That one line turned the whole room explosive. Man, arguing about who got the better sugar daddy is straight wild. That's not how real ones move. I was always taught, you can't eat off another man's plate, because the moment he stops feeding you, your whole crew goes hungry. So all that 50 takes care of me more than Jay takes care of Bleek talk? That's nonsense, man. Real men stand tall, hustle hard, and build their own lane. If your homie helps you out, cool. Show love and keep it moving.
I spent all that tour money, G's, on Pop, a bucket. Whatever he did, brought another Porsche, BMW. Like, yo, Pop, G's, you said a closed mouth don't get fed, G's, on Pop, G's, I'm hurting.
It's a fact.
And when I told him, I said, yo, go get 25 grand from the bank tomorrow. He like, oh, yo, what's up with that Wrangler truck? I'm like, I left that shit in Brooklyn. I don't even want that shit. I don't even know what block it's on. Matter of fact, it's by the car shop where I got the Maserati from. He like, you let me get that, G's. I'm like, go take it. You probably got to get a new key. Like, oh, I'm going to go get that tomorrow, G's. You different, G's.
But flexing about who spoils you more? That's embarrassing. Yayo tried to make Jay look selfish, saying he only moves for himself, but instead of sounding tough, it came off like a weird brag about who's getting taken care of. That's a crazy look in a culture built on independence and pride. A lot of people weren't feeling it, and Bleek, he wasn't about to sit quiet on that. When he pulled up to Drink Champs, he made sure to clear the air. No fake smiles, no sugarcoating. Bleek said straight up, there was never real beef between him and Yayo before. They'd been around each other, maybe even worked together a few times. But after those slick comments, the vibe flipped instantly.
Like I just said, we just came back off tour.
Yeah.
You know, with Fifth, and we still touring. Still. And I do my own tours too for people. Oh, yo.
You see,
I do my own tours. I did tours in Canada. I did a tour across the whole Germany and the Swiss Alps. And that's why I don't care about the hate. Cause I'm like, I got the possibility to do my own tour. Like something with Memphis Bleek. Memphis Bleek said to Nori, Yayo said Jay-Z didn't have us on tour like he did, or I eat my own halal. I eat my own halal too, if you want to say that. To Memphis Bleek, I just came off my last tour. All I'm saying is when you see Jay-Z in a setting, he never really, when he's doing a Beyonce show or whatever, you don't see Memphis Bleek on the stage and him being brought out.
The tension's real now. Not full-on war, but the respect. It's shaky. Bleek made it clear. He's not out here chasing drama, but nobody's gonna play with his name either. Once Jim Jones jumped into the mix, everything exploded even more. Even though Memphis Bleek didn't say it word for word, his message came through loud and clear. Forget Tony Yayo, straight up. But here's where it gets wild. Tony Yayo's always been the type to call people out when he feels like they don't look out for their crew. That loud, unfiltered, keep it real or don't speak attitude, that's exactly what lit the next fire. This time with Jim Jones. Everybody remembers those crazy G-Unit versus Dipset days. 50 Cent, Cameron, Jim Jones. It was total madness back in the mid-2000s. Diss tracks flying, street tension rising, egos clashing. It was pure entertainment and chaos rolled into one. Most people thought that beef got buried years ago, right? Wrong. Over the last couple of years, Yayo and Jim have been trading shots again, and this time it's way deeper than music.
You know, even if I'm doing the hype man shit with 50, he's bringing me out. I'm making money. I'm going to.
That's that man girl too. That's it. That's Hove's wife tour.
Yeah, that's Hove. Yeah, Hove wife tour.
So I believe if Hove was out on his own, he would bring Bleak out. There is no need for him to bring Bleak in a situation where I look like if this was last tour you're talking about with the Cowboy Carter.
Right.
Yeah.
So to me, because I look at Bleak as a loyal guy, like I'm a loyal guy to Jay. But I look at like Fifth, my guy Hervé, one day we had TRL, and it's the young Gunners there.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to him out, and Hervé says loud, "You don't gotta worry about nothing. You got 50. Jay-Z doesn't do nothing for these guys like 50 does." And Hervé, I think he worked with them too.
It's personal. When Yayo sat down with Math Hoffa on My Expert Opinion, he dropped a bomb that shook the whole hip-hop world. He straight up claimed that Jim Jones left stack bundles in the hood to die. Yeah, he said that with his chest. And when Yayo said it, the emotion hit heavy. You could feel that pain in his voice when he said, "This is the difference between me and other dudes, right? Stack Bundles, one of my favorite rappers in the world. Rest in peace. Rest in squad. Rest in peace, Far Rock, you understand?" That's how Tony Yayo started before diving straight into Jim Jones. He reminded everyone Jim had Stack Bundles. He had Max B, real talent, right under his wing. But then Yayo pointed out how Stack was still in the hood, still around the same blocks, even when his buzz was growing crazy. And that's when Yayo flipped the whole story, comparing how 50 Cent treated him versus how Jim handled Stack. He said, "No disrespect to Jim Jones, but Fifth had me in Battery Park. I could walk out there barefoot, get the socks. That's when a man loves you." He explained how 50 made sure he was safe, really safe. Even after Yayo got shot and his car got lit up. "Niggas shot my shit up, bent, lease and all that. Fifth get the sneakers, toss them over my shit. Official." That story hit hard because it showed 50 wasn't just talk. He looked out for his people for real. Then Yayo dropped the dagger. "Rest in peace, Stack." But Stack got killed in a project with a Porsche. That line hit like a gut punch. It painted a tragic picture. A gifted rapper trapped in the same danger he was trying to escape, while his boss was chilling miles away in comfort. Fans split instantly. Some said Yayo was just speaking truth about loyalty and how real bosses protect their people. Others said he went too far bringing up a man's death just to throw shots at Jim Jones. Either way, that interview reignited a fire nobody expected to burn again. According to Yayo, Jim didn't look out for Stack the way he should have, and that lack of love might have played a part in how things ended. That's a heavy accusation. Not some gossip, but a statement that slices deep into the legacy of two men who used to call each other brothers. Now, if you don't know who Stack Bundles was, here's the quick rundown. Stack was one of Jim Jones's day ones, a raw talent straight out of Far Rockaway, Queens. The dude had energy, charisma, and bars sharp enough to light up any mic. Jim took him under his wing, signed him, brought him on tour, and put him in rooms most rappers could only dream of. But even with all that, people been whispering for years that Jim didn't do enough. That maybe, just maybe, Stack's story could have turned out different if he'd been pushed out the hood sooner. See, Stack Bundles lost his life in the same streets he was trying to rise above, and that tragedy still haunts hip-hop to this day. Some folks say Jim could have done more to pull him out. Others argue that's unfair. Sometimes no matter how much you try to help, people stay where they feel most real, even if it's risky. You can hand someone the blueprint, give them the tools, even throw money behind their dream. But if they ain't ready to move, it don't matter. It's painful when you want success for someone more than they want it for themselves. And that might have been exactly what went down between Jim and Stack. A mix of love, loyalty, and frustration. But the streets don't care about nuance. Critics came at Jim hard, accusing him of taking Stack's whole swag. The talk, the drip, the aura, and then running with it like it was his own. Let's be real. Stack Bundles was that guy. If life hadn't been cut short, he could have been front row at Paris Fashion Week sitting next to A-Idol app Rocky with ease. That's how ahead of his time he was. Pure drip, pure confidence, pure New York energy. But once people started saying Jim Jones stole the sauce and left Stack behind, things got ugly fast. Jim, though, stood his ground. He denied every bit of it, saying he did everything he could for Stack. He gave him money, put him on tours, opened doors, showed him the ropes. But according to Jim, Stack just wouldn't let go of the streets. And that's what made the pain hit so deep. Not that Jim didn't care, but that he couldn't save him. Every time Stack's name comes up, you can see it on Jim's face. That hurt still lives there. His voice tightens, his tone changes. That loss cuts deep, no matter how many years pass. Whether people are talking about that alleged $25,000, the GWA situation, or any other rumor floating around online, one thing's for sure. Jim takes anything connected to Stack straight to heart. So when Tony Yayo started speaking on it publicly, Jim took that as pure disrespect. It wasn't just some rapper throwing shots, it was someone dragging a personal wound into the spotlight. So when Jim sat down with Memphis Bleek and Yayo's name came up, the tension hit instantly. Bleek tried to play peacemaker, keep things cool, but Jim, nah, he was ready to talk his talk. Jim went off. No filter, no holding back. He made it clear nobody in his circle's starving, and that all this who's got the better sugar daddy talk is straight ridiculous. The vibe in that room changed fast. You could feel the tension through the screen. Jim wasn't just defending his rep, he was defending the name of someone he loved like family. That old Dipset fire came roaring back and fans instantly wondered, are we seeing the start of another rap war? Once Yayo's name dropped, Jim flipped the switch and went full flex mode, talking heavy about his money, his cars, his wins, stacking it up like a scoreboard. But here's the crazy part. Yayo never even called Jim broke. He literally said Jim was good. His real point was about the people around Jim, how they don't seem like they're eating the same way he is. If Jim had caught that message instead of taking it like a diss, maybe the whole thing wouldn't have blown up like this. But once he felt disrespected, it was over. That Harlem pride kicked in hard, eyes locked, voice sharp. Jim snapped back saying, "Ain't nobody feeding me. I built this from the ground up." He stood firm, saying he's not living off nobody's plate. Not Jay-Z's, not 50 Cent's, nobody's. That was Jim standing on business. But instead of cooling off, he flipped it back on Yayo, saying he's too tied to 50, stuck in his shadow, and can't move without him. That's when everything flipped. It stopped being a convo and turned into pure tension. The air in that studio got thick real quick. Memphis Bleek tried to keep it cool, tossing in little comments to ease the heat, but Jim, he was gone. Emotions took over, and you could tell. This wasn't just about Tony Yayo anymore. This was years of frustration boiling over. All the comparisons, the sneak talk, the whispers about him not taking care of his people. Jim hit his breaking point and went off, shouting that he's rich, solid, and self-made. He flexed about the cars, the numbers, the lifestyle. But deep down, it wasn't about money. It was about respect. And Yayo? He wasn't backing down one bit. Instead of ranting online, he hit back with a silent but savage move, posting Jim's longtime rival Max B on his Instagram story. No caption, no words, just the picture. That single post blew up the internet instantly. Fans went crazy, some calling Yayo petty, others saying he was playing chess, not checkers. The culture split right down the middle. Jim's fans backed him hard, saying he earned everything he's got, while Yayo's crew claimed he just exposed what everyone else was scared to say. That Max B post was like tossing gasoline on a live fire. Kabam, and it lit the whole scene up. And for Jim, that hit deep, because Max B is still a wound that never healed. When Yayo brought Max B into it, that wasn't just trolling. That was a straight-up trigger. Jim snapped back instantly, hopping on live, chest out, talking heavy. He said Yayo's just using his name to stay relevant, warning, "Don't play with me. I've been outside for real." Jim made sure everyone watching knew he wasn't the one to test. You could see the disrespect all over his face. Not just from the Max B post, but from how the internet ran with Yayo's narrative. And just like that, fans picked sides. Dipset versus G-Unit, round 2. Comment sections turned into mini rap wars overnight. Some yelling, "Jim's still the capo," while others fired back, "Yayo keeping it real." Chaos everywhere. Even old heads from both camps jumped in, dropping cryptic posts and old clips like it was 2005 all over again. But underneath the noise, there was still a hint of truth in what Yayo said. His message wasn't about flexing, it was about leadership. Because at the end of the day, what's the point of being rich if your team's still struggling? That's what hit fans the hardest. But Jim wasn't trying to hear it. He doubled down, saying his crew's good, his paper's solid, and nobody around him's starving. He reminded everyone he's been putting people on for years, from Bird Gang to the Lobby Boys, and he's still feeding the block today. When Yayo brought Max B into it, that wasn't just trolling, that was a straight-up trigger. Jim fired back instantly, hopping on live, chest out, saying Yayo's only using his name to stay relevant. "Don't play with me. I've been outside for real," he said, making sure everyone knew he's not the one to test. You could see the disrespect in his eyes, not just from the Max B post, but from how fast the internet ran with Yayo's story. Within hours, And fans were split down the middle. Dipset versus G-Unit, round 2. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Jim still the capo beam versus Yayo keeping it real. It was chaos all over social media. Even OGs from both sides jumped in, dropping cryptic posts like the early 2000s beef was back. But behind all that noise, there was still a grain of truth in Yayo's words. His point wasn't about money, it was about leadership. Because at the end of the day, what's the point of being rich if your crew's still struggling? That hit fans hard. But Jim wasn't having it. He doubled down, saying his people are solid, his team's eating, and nobody around him starving. He reminded everyone he's been putting folks on for years, from Bird Gang to the Lobby Boys, and he's still feeding the streets today. Jim made it clear he's not letting anyone rewrite his legacy. Meanwhile, Yayo kept throwing slick shade, laughing emojis, cryptic captions, and clips of 50 talking about loyalty. That hit Jim deep, because Yayo's bond with 50 runs decades strong. No matter what, Yayo's always stood behind his man. Now it's deeper than rap. It's ego, loyalty, and legacy clashing in real time. Both men got pride, both got armies of fans ready to ride, and both got something to lose if they fold. The only question left, will they keep it on wax or will it spill off the mic? Either way, the streets are watching every post, every live, every move. This might just be the start of a whole new G-Unit versus Dipset era. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and catch me on the next one.